Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to session D-7 of the 2021 SDPBC Technology Conference. My name is Mike Goldstein with the Department of Educational Technology, and welcome to our session called Connecting with JAMF. Hopefully you've seen a lot of good speakers today. We're in the home stretch, rounding third, heading home. But with that said, I think you've turned into a great session to learn all about your Apple products and how you can manage those with JAMF. So before I turn this over to Javier, do have a couple of quick housekeeping items for everybody. You do have the chat on the right side of your screen. You can use that to communicate with everyone. Moderators do have a wrench by their name, and you'll see some of them pop in through the sessions throughout the day. This session will be recorded, and it's going to be available in the conference platform for the next 30 days, and it will be available on the EdTech Training YouTube channel for the life of the channel. As always, in YouTube land, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. You can do that using the symbols below on your screen. And we would love to hear from who's in our session today. So if you could take a quick moment and join in that chat box on the right, go ahead and say your name and what school or location you're joining us from so that we can welcome everybody here to us. Make sure to stay tuned throughout our session as we do have a door prize at the end. We'll have more information after Javier's session. So with that being said, I'm going to bring Javier into our screen. And Javier is our guru of all things Apple. Many of you know him from your iPads, your Macs. He is our resident genius. So with that being said, I will turn this over to Javier to take us away.
Hi, hello there, guys. So my name is, again, Javier Rodriguez. I'm currently the Apple specialist here at the school district that manages all the Apple products for the school at this time. Pretty much, although it's only 45 minutes, wish I could have more time, show you more things. But with the limited amount of time, I'm going to show you just the specific, some crucial, important steps on how to join devices and manage a few of the applications within the devices themselves. This is usually applying for school techs, but if you're a school administrator, teacher, or staff, this will also apply to you in case you happen to have one of these devices in hand before your school tech does. Usually the school tech takes care of it before you get it, but in case you do, this is some of the good ways for you to go ahead and get started and get the ball rolling with the devices. So to get started, we're first going to give you a rundown on how to enroll a Mac OS device. Whether it's an iMac, whether it's a MacBook, whether it's a Mac Mini. These devices from scratch, or if you happen to reimage it, this is what you will see or what you're expected to see and some of the steps to follow. So the beginning, like any other Mac, you get your region. So you gotta go through it. Make sure you select your region. Make sure it's the appropriate United States. Don't choose any other countries. If not, you'll get the time wrong. So make sure you do United States. Proceed with the language. And then I'll continue with that. When you select your language, if you have any accessibility options that you want to choose, whether it's hearing, vision, things like that, proceed with that. If not, click continue. Don't select that at all. Now here in this particular portion, this is what allows the district or any device to be attached to the district. This is called Apple Device Enrollment. The device enrollment program from Apple. These devices, when you buy them from the marketplace, they automatically come enrolled and are prepped into getting the configurations that we set for the district. If you happen to go to the configuration and you don't get this window, that means you either got a device that got donated, was purchased by a grant, not that a grant got from a different source and not straight from a marketplace or anything similar to where we get things from our vendors. And then you will have to speak with your school tech to go ahead and get this managed manually. There is a different way, which I could share that later. So let's go ahead and proceed. Once you select that, it's going to start downloading and bringing all the profiles, in other words, configurations, security settings, and features that are going to be set for this particular device or any device that you are enrolling. Some of these features include whether you're able to access the App Store, whether you're able to download applications, whether you're able to change the wallpaper, basic things like that. So this profile's download, just wait a few seconds until that goes through, which uh, brings me into my next feature, which is something brand new to the district, which recently we just started implementing. It's called JAMF Connect. The JAMF Connect window, it's working together, or we are working together with our IDP or identity provider called Microsoft. There are multiple IDPs, which you do Okta, Google, Microsoft, because Microsoft works closely with us. We have a connection with Microsoft. We decided to choose Microsoft based on our needs and the infrastructure. So as the screen goes on with your enrollment process, you're going to see a Microsoft portal. Now, this particular portal, which is in conjunction with JAMF Connect, it's super helpful because it allows account provisioning, which, in other words, during the setup of each day, JAMF Connect ensures that a single identity is being used to access each device, and this way you don't have to use Active Directory in this particular case. So you could be all over the world. You could be in Japan. You could be in Texas, traveling all over the world, and for some reason you're having trouble connecting with with JAMF Connect and Microsoft. You don't have to. It's pretty much as a cloud identity, which cloud-based, go anywhere. So let's say for some reason you're having trouble, you happen to wipe your device. You wipe it, go through the enrollment process like you see it now, type in your credentials, and you're good to go. It'll give you access into the district resources. And also it will synchronize your passwords with the old and the new in case you are having trouble with that. Now, in this particular case here, on the sign-in, for any user that is enrolling, or any regular normal staff or student administrator, you're going to use your district's email address. With the email address, that will bump you into the district resources. Now, if you're a school tech, listen guys, if you're a school tech, make sure that you are as the first line of support, make sure that you go into this particular option at the bottom of the screen. It's called local login. This particular local login option, go in there with the PC admin account that is available for your school. If you don't have that account, contact me later, and I will get with you and give you the username and password for that. That's the local administrator account that will allow you to go in, prep the device, get everything ready for that particular user, principal, staff, teacher. But if not, if you're a regular normal teacher or staff, then in that case, right here, I'm going to use an account. I'm going to remove the screen for a minute. So this way you guys can actually see how it looks like. So at this particular point, when you type in your credentials, it will take you into another page. At that particular point, that's going to be a second authentication window, which it's, let me see, just give me a second. So when you go into that second window, when that pops up, just give me 1 second, I'll go ahead and type it in. I'm trouble typing that particular account. All right, so type in that particular, whether it's a student or staff account, go ahead and let me bring back up the page. At this particular moment, you're going to see this. Most of you have seen this before in the past. This is kind of like it's checking in just to make sure that you are part of the district and you are who you are. So make sure you always select the first one on top. Now, in this section, it's just the way JAMF Connect does. It's a multi-factor authentication, which is going to be every and each time that you try to log in into this device. This just makes sure that the person logging in is who you are. So let me go ahead and type in my credentials again to making sure that you are who you are and doesn't try to kick me out. Because since I'm not logging in with local administrator account. Let me bring that back up. All right, and as this comes up, you're going to see another window. Now, in the past, I've had users seeing this particular or ask this particular question. Every time they see this cloud password, it's technically not your iCloud password from Apple. It's just how it's rephrased or it's written within the program itself. So in other words, it's asking you for your cloud domain account from the district. So you type in your password again. In this particular case, you retype it, create an account, and it takes you straight into the desktop itself. It takes a few seconds while it creates your account. Once it creates your account, then you are fully set up. However, within the desktop itself, there is a few features and a few options that I will need you to do. Now, if you're a school tech, this works great for you because you got it ready. Now, if you're an administrator, staff teacher, not necessarily applies to you, but it's always great if you're seeing this, this will help. And of course, this particular option, the way we're doing it, it applies mostly for the school district. If you're not part of the school district and you're from the outside, this might be something that you've seen in the past or you will see in the future. Maybe your institution has something similar or is willing to do that. Or if once we see it, there you go, you could chime in, and you pretty much will be okay with it. This is nothing out of this world. It's just a few extra features that you have to work with. So once the screen comes up, as we see it, this is Big Sur, the latest release from Apple. And then you'll see some notifications here on the right-hand side, and it's going to start bringing up policies that are going to be installing in the device. Right now, we have the JAMF Connect notification. After this, you're going to start seeing Office is going to start installing. So you're going to see that. You're going to see Chrome being installed. And then one key feature that I will need you to go into as you enroll the device, it's going to your Launchpad or your applications. Here on top, just go to applications. This particular point, we'll go to the Launchpad. We're going to ensure that we take care of the renaming of the machine. In previous macOS devices, the renaming of the machine happened automatically. However, with Big Sur, we're having some hiccups. So there is only one particular step that I would need you guys to do and have some interaction with. It's just the renaming of the machine. So I'm going to take you guys into the self-service. The self-service, it's pretty much a portal that we have available for all district staff and students and allows them to install applications at their convenience based on their school. Well, self-service is not coming up. Let's go to applications. Remember, this is a VM, so it's a little laggy, but we're working with what we have. So just bear with us. So right here is the Launchpad. Of course, self-service, it's always in the second screen most of the time. Now, the self-service is in this option here. You see self-service. Now, one way to recognize it, it's going to be the school district icon. So if you're looking ever for the self-service, let's go to the Launchpad. Still will come up, but if you ever see it, it's going to be a school district icon and it's going to have self-service on it. So let's go ahead and try to launch it. When that comes up, and while that comes up, we're going to go into system preferences. Now, why am I asking you to rename the machine? It's very important to rename the machine because it's how you are going to identify it in JAMF and also how it's going to be identified in the network itself. Although I mentioned that the device doesn't have to be joined to the domain, it's still good that it joins just in case JAMF Connect happens to fail and you have a backup point of logging in. So go into system preferences and then we go into the folder called sharing. Excuse me. You're going to see the actual where it displays the name of the device itself. It's taking a little longer than expected. Working with the VM, trying to do our hardest with these VMs. So, of course, if you have any questions, ask. Or any particular information that you want me to share, let me know. So right here, as you noticed, the actual Nope, that's not it. What's it doing? Trying to search for something else. Come on, VM. Okay, here we go. So we go back and we go into sharing, and here that's where it's going to show the actual name of the device. Now, although if you go in there and click edit, unlock it, of course, and then click on edit, it's going to change all of this local display name. However, that does not help us or helps JAMF or helps the system. When it joins the domain, it's going to be joining as iMac. So we want to make sure that when you rename the device, it's both of these match. And one way to do that is if we go into the sole service, like we were planning on going there, let's go in there. There you go. The sole service icon is now there. So we'll hit, oh, it's coming up. So many things happen at once. Let's let it load up, and I'll explain to you what the sole service has. On the right-hand side, it gives you categories of every single option for either Google, district applications, Microsoft, video apps, and things like that. In this particular case, we're going to go into this troubleshooting tab called Help Desk. Here, if you ever have trouble binding the device to the domain, that does that for you. You're trying to get information about your device, then you get max info. Or even if you just want to get something funky and nothing is working properly or things are missing, just click into the enrollment policy, and I will start the enrolling process, not from scratch, but just from your desktop. All the policies will start downloading and installing just to make sure you're up to date with everything. So to rename the machine, we click on the one right here with the star. It says rename the device. We click on it. And then once that pops up, it's going to give you a prompt. That prompt is going to have some details on how to rename it. And just like we do in Windows, it's the same thing for the Mac. We're going to use the first four numbers of your site, department, or school, whether it's 1234, 9999. In this case, let's go ahead and rename it 9999, and the last 8 digits of the serial. Let's make it C, D, E, F, G, H. Let's just do that. And we're going to make that our name. And then I'll show you in a minute how that's going to be detected by JAMF on the actual network and how it's going to see it. So let's go ahead and click OK. And say the name has changed. We proceed with that. All right, so everything looks good. Roger that. Click OK. Let's minimize this for a second. Once that's minimized, we go into system preferences, and voila. As you see here, the actual name of the machine has now been changed from iMac to 999 and the last 8 digits of the serial. So that's what we want to see. That's pretty much the only manual interaction that needs to be done when it comes to the device. The device on its own is going to be downloading the rest. So we go back into the Launchpad. You've seen that Office has already been downloaded. That already happened. So Office is already there. The only thing that we have missing is Chrome. Actually, no, Chrome is already there. So Chrome is one of the other things that's just installed. And that's pretty much it. So at this particular point, you're good to go. Now, unless you have any other application that you would like to install, like any of the video applications, any coding apps, or even the Apple apps, then you can proceed and get those installed. So that's one thing that you need to do. Now, for those that don't know how to get the serial, just go to the app over here itself, click on About, and that will give you the information that you need in case you're trying to rename it. And that pretty much sets that up when it comes to the Mac, and you're good to go. You could just go ahead and close it, shut it down, and then you're going to give that to the administrator, staff, teacher, or even the principal, and that's good to go. Or if you're not a school tech, and you go through this process, and then you see these notifications, that means it's doing its thing. Just give it a minute, let it marinate, and you'll be set. The very last thing that it's going to do is going to bind to the domain, which I still let it happen just in case. It's always good to have. And also the naming helps make sure that it's always correct, because if it has a duplicate, an AD, if there is a duplicate name, you're gonna have conflicts, and we don't want that. That's why the name is important as well. So the very last thing that you're gonna see is that binding has completed, and that's pretty much the last step to say you're good to go. You could start functioning, doing all your work. prepping whatever you got to do, and you're set. Um, and that's pretty much it's what sets off the device or the enrolling of a macOS device from scratch. Um, and now my next one is going to be how to enroll an actual iPad. Now, for those that have questions, I'll go ahead and answer them at the end of this chat. That you see, the very last thing was binding complete. And once you bind it, you go, if you want to know if that's binded, go into users and groups, and then go into login options. You see a green dot that says admin, and you're good to go. That's pretty much telling you that it's binded to the domain, and you could go ahead and proceed. But like again, JAMF Connect doesn't need the machine to be joined through the domain. So, but it's also good to have as a backup. I allow it. You just never know. So, all right. With that being said, let me go ahead and show you how to display a device to an iPad device to that domain. So let me go ahead and proceed with that. Show you guys the particular option on enrolling an iPad. For those that haven't seen it, this is and this particular options of what we're doing today, it was by majority vote. A lot of you guys in the past couple of days and weeks have been asking me how to enroll a device. Although we have the information, it's not the same as telling you or basically seeing an actual physical display of how to enroll a device. Here we have one of the newer iPads, not newer, but it's on iOS 15. It's an iPad Mini 4, which is still in compatibility with the district. For those that have questions on which devices need to be compatible, there is a list in the JAMF 101 notes that allows you to see which compatible devices are still in production for the district. Excuse me. That is very important as the device is not compatible or pretty much not in support. They don't really have the compatibility with the applications that we use in the district. So this way, at the same time, as we follow Apple's best practices, we've removed them from the system. And then we just, it's always good to have the compatible devices that are up to date. So let's go ahead and proceed. Let me go ahead and show you guys this. Now, when you get an actual device, an iPad OS device, with an iPod, so I know some schools have iPods. You're going to get, the region, the language, the same thing you see in the Mac. It's going to ask you for the network. Make sure you connect to the Enroll network for your location. Type in the password. In the past, there were some options as far as choosing the proxy to be automatic. With this, we have a new process and you don't have to choose the proxy anymore. Just connect them to the Enroll network for your location and you are set. Now, once that gets detected and it's connected to the network, you're going to see this screen on the iPad. This is the remote management, just like you see in the Mac. This is telling you that it's part of the DEP, the Device Enrollment Program, and it's ready to be enrolled. As you see, it's enrolled to Palm Beach County. If you don't see this one more time, it means that it was either a donated device or either if for some reason it got bought. Let's say you went to the Apple store, got it on the repeat card, who knows? But if you don't see this, that means it wasn't enrolled. So let's go ahead and proceed. Click on next. Here, there's two ways to enroll a device. If you're going to be enrolling a device for a student, you're going to be using the student credentials if it's going to be for a one-to-one. I know some of the schools are one-to-one, so you use those credentials, which is for that student. Now, for a regular school that doesn't have a one-to-one, then you will use your generic FLCBT account for that location. Some of you try to use it on the CSAP. You don't want that. Just make sure you do it on the FLCBT. If you have questions on how to use that account, if you don't have the credentials, contact me or the service desk, and they'll be able to help you with that. So on this particular point, let me go ahead and use the account that I'm going to be using to enroll this device under. I'm going to be using a student test account and this particular option to enroll it. Once this comes up, let me go ahead and proceed. Let me see once it goes through. Now, enrolling a device as a student or staff doesn't matter. Let me go ahead and bring this up back. Okay, so Enrolling a device as a student or staff does matter because student enrolled devices get different policies or restrictions, features. If it's your staff, then of course everything is a little bit open. So that's why it's important to enroll a device as the appropriate person. So go ahead and select the location. You select whether you want dark, whether you want light. Go ahead and proceed with light. Click continue. And here, you're going to see some options. Now, here at the main screen, some of the apps have disappeared at the bottom of the screen. Right here, they're usually more, but they have gone. And this is to the fact because it's an student enrolled device, you get less. You see that it disappeared. Some of the icons disappeared. That's for the same reason. Some of the student devices don't really get, they don't or need those extra account apps. So that's why we remove them by default as the profile gets enrolled. Also here on the next page, you'll see that you get a password change, you get a speed test, and then you're going to start seeing the self-service app. And it's the same thing as the macOS. The self-service app allows you to, it's like a little mini portal where it allows you to, oh, there you go. Speaking about the self-service, it allows you to install applications that you need for your school in case you're deploying. You want them to live there for whenever you're ready, and the students can actually install them on their own pace. Works great. You also get the Lightspeed agent, which is our content filtering. That's always good. And then the 45 app. So here in the self-service, if we click on it, we go in there. It's going to ask us to verify a few things. Let's continue. It's going to show us all the apps that are available to us, or at least the ones that you want to deploy for your school. We have some default applications. However, you as the school administrator, the person managing the apps, if you want extra applications, you could push them up and push them down into the actual app itself. And this works great because you could install them at your own pace and have them available for, let's say you have a class of 50 and then you want a specific apps for that particular class, installed it, and it only shows for those 50. So, okay, so one more thing, like I was saying, when it comes to staff and student, since this particular device was enrolled as a student, if you pay attention into the option here for the iCloud, you see that it's gridded out. I can't really click on it, and that's because it's a student device. The student device is a little bit more restricted. They have this option compared to the staff. The staff have that's open, so they are able to go in and type their account for the iCloud. As far as that goes, just make sure that you have the latest iOS, and you see it's enrolled under the site number for the school, now the site 9999, and you got the serial of that device. So when you get new devices, whether it's Mac or iPad, make sure that if you're the school tech or the administrator, mostly the school tech, you're going to apply for this, but send me the information, the serial number. I try to catch it before it gets to your school. Send that to me, so this way I'm able to move it into your site location. In case that we miss to do that, the iPad is going to be enrolled. The name is going to be a little different, and it's going to have, instead of the site code, it's going to have SDPVC. Now, if you see the name as SDPVC, that means it was enrolled under the root pre-stage. In other words, like a root OU in JAMF. And you're going to have trouble seeing the iPad because it's not in your location. So make sure you let me know before you start enrolling it, so I can move it over, and then this way you have the ability to enroll it with your particular settings and your configuration for that school. So as we move forward, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to deploy an application or how to get the licensing for those particular devices. Now, so what I'm going to do is let me go ahead and share my other information. So we're going to go into what's called the new BPP site. This is called Apple School Manager. Now, Apple School Manager is the new BPP. Apple migrated this into this format or this content about almost 2 years ago, and we've been migrating everything else, every account. Now, every school has a specific account, how to log in into the Apple School Manager site. If you have problems getting that account or you don't really know what that is, either contact Shoemaker from EdTech or contact me, and then we'll give you the right information. Here with Apple School Manager, this is where you obtain the licensing for your apps. Not necessarily as a way to get the apps deployed. This is only to get the licensing. So let's say, for example, we're trying to buy an application. You go into apps. You have only two options here, the apps and books. So let's say we're trying to find how to get Flipgrid as one of the applications to deploy. So what we're going to do is we have a video crop resize video, right? Since we already see that Flipgrid is already being deployed by many people, let's go ahead and do something new. So to the right-hand side, you're going to see assign to. When you sign in with your account, you're going to see only, and you in this brown box, you're going to see only your school. Now, because I'm the admin, I see everybody else. So let's go ahead and assign it to the site that we need. Whether it's free or it's paid, you still have to acquire a license. So when this happens, of course, Apple School Manager contacts Apple, be like, hey, I need this amount of licenses, and then it happens. So let's say we're trying to get 20 licenses for this video crop app. It's free. You click on get. It'll take a few seconds, and it tells me that site, test site 9999 has 20 licenses. Now, once we get this, then that's pretty much all you need to do when it comes to getting the licensing for this app. Then you go into JAMF. We're currently under the test site 999 profile, going to mobile apps. And let me see, that comes up. You see one app there already. So let's go ahead and click on new. You choose the first option as default. Click on next. Come on. And then let's say type doesn't have to be the same, the exact context of the name. Just type video, I think it was video crop. Let's go ahead and do that. And it's going to give you a list of every single name relating to that matches that criteria that you put in there. So we got the first one. The first one is the one that we bought. So to find out whether you have licensing, you go into apps purchased, and it hasn't showed up there. So let's go ahead and proceed. Maybe take a second or two. Now remember, there is a specific token that it comes to Apple School Manager. In Apple School Manager, there's a token. You go into settings, apps, and then when that comes up, you're going to have the information here on this side for your token. So make sure you download that for your school, and then I'll show you how to download it into JAMF. So let's refresh since it's having trouble detecting it. Let's go ahead and click next. We go video crop and click it, click on add, we choose it. Then it's going to take us to a screen where you have some options on features of and detailed information about that particular application. Gives you the name, the category, the short version of the number of that version, whether it's free. If it's free, it'll be checked. If it's paid, it will have that unchecked. And here, this is where I need you guys to look into. So distribution method, you have two options. In this distribution method, you could either deploy it directly to the iPad and have that installed as soon as you deploy it, or you could have it in the self-service to install at your own convenience or whenever you're ready. So in the drop-down, you see install automatically and make it available. So we'll choose automatically. just for this purpose, and still choose that option to have that installed in the self-service. Just in case the app goes away or gets uninstalled, we could go back and find it in the self-service. Check for updates just to make sure that's set. Remove the last option to allow the app to be removed. Although some of the restrictions disable, doesn't allow users to remove apps. We just for peace of mind, we uncheck it. We check the box that says remove the app in case the agent gets removed, the JAMF agent. So everything that gets attached to JAMF gets removed. Then we'll go into the scope. The scope is which devices you want this to be deployed, whether you want that to your school, every single device in Site 999, or a specific one. Since we don't have that many devices, we're going to choose a specific device. So click on the right-hand side, there is the add button, click on add. We see the device right there. Click on add, click done, and we see that there. The next tab is to manage distribution. Now, this is very important. Now, if you don't select this box and check it, it's not going to allow the device to detect the licensing. If you leave this blank or don't check it, when you try to launch, the application will still deploy, but when you go in there and launch it, it's going to have a message that says, please connect to iTunes. So we don't want that. So let's go ahead and check that. It shows you our account in Apple School Manager. We bought 20 of the licenses, so that's good. That's a great news. Click on save. And once we have that, let me show you real fast. Let me share the iPad. So this way you see, well, and in the iPad itself, we should start seeing the deployment of the app any second. So it takes a few seconds. It might show in the self-service at first, and then it'll start installing. So we come in here, we look for the app. It's called Video Crap. Right there, you see that? It's right there. So that automatically came up right here. It showed up in the self-service and it's ready to install. But since we choose to install automatically and then show in the self-service, looks like it showed up here first, which is okay, it happens. Our network is our best friend, so we have to play with it. So let's go ahead and go back, and it should take a minute or two for the app to start deploying, and then you start seeing it here. The network doesn't always place well, so you just gotta be patient and then just go with it, since we, for that particular scenario. So, and that's pretty much it, how it happens when it comes to deploying applications. It will be the same scenario when it comes to the device on the Mac side themselves. So if we go back into JAMF, I could show you real fast that it's the same case. So it's okay. We go back, and now if we go into the Mac side itself, if we look for that device that we enrolled, we see it here. And the device, we noticed that it got enrolled. You see why the name was important? Because it's how you see it in JAMF. It says 9999 ABC. And so that's what's important. And it looks like the device got renamed as Jimmy Reese, the Yankees 1925 second baseman. Perfect. So we got that device enrolled into that person. So it's good to go. And now the one particular feature in the JAMF for Macs is when you enroll a Mac, you as a school tech, since you have the access for this, automatically the device is going to be enrolled as a student account. Some of the things that you'll notice if it's a student or staff is in system preferences, the features are going to be graded out. So then you come here, you go into JAMF, look for the device. You see that this device is enrolled under Jimmy Reese, but he is a student. So this particular student needs to be changed to staff. So then you click on edit, put the information of the principal, it will automatically populate, and you are set to go. The profiles are going to start removing from staff and converting and installing the staff settings. And that's pretty much all you have to do in the staff side. And that's pretty much it. that's all there is as far as when it comes to enrolling devices from scratch, Apple, Mac, and deploying some of the applications and some of the key points to enroll some of the features that need to be installed on those devices. I know it's a lot of information. I wish I had more time. Unfortunately, try to keep it as short as possible. If you ever have any questions, you have my information. Contact the service desk, and they will get back with me in case there is any questions that you may need. Other than that, I hope this helps and you find it useful for the future to come when it comes to enrolling devices into the district. And I guess I'll be seeing you guys later on as I do site visits and out there at the schools. So I hope you guys are entertained and find it useful and used for your benefit. So thank you very much for having me here and give you some of this nice information.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Javier. I know that was a lot of information, but definitely a lot of useful information for our school techs. I know I've gone at with you to set up Mac, iMacs and whatnot. So definitely some very valuable information there. So thank you again to Javier for presenting Connecting with JAMF. So now it is everybody's favorite time of a session, and it is door prize time. So before I do that real quick, just a real quick recap on what's coming next. This is session D. So coming up at 2:45, we do have our closing session with Doug Konopolkal from CDW. He used to be an ed tech director in our neighborhood in the north in Martin County. Great guy, a lot of useful information. Definitely, sees the whole picture. So make sure you visit that session for an opportunity to win yet another prize. So with that being said, it is that time that it is time to enter for door prizes. So go ahead, use hashtag PBC TechConf in the chat. You only need to hit that once per session. No need to spam us, but use hashtag PBC TechConf exactly like that. You do need to be present to win. We can only ship to the United States. And if you are the lucky winner, make sure to send an email to john.shoemaker@palmbeachschools.org. So I know the big question is, what is it I'm going to win? And the answer is whoever wins this session's prize is going to win a $25 Outback Steakhouse gift card, courtesy of Gold Coast Federal Credit Union. So we've had a lot of learning today, and hopefully if you're our winner, you'll go have a nice steak dinner afterwards. So we'll give just another moment or two for everybody to go and submit or go and put hashtag PBC TechConf in the chat. All righty. And I am going to go over to our prize tool. See, we got quite a few entries here, so definitely see a lot of people watching this session. So let's go ahead and see who our lucky winner is. All right, Toshimi, you are our lucky winner. You will be having a nice dinner from Outback Steakhouse. Make sure to send an email to john.shoemaker@palmbeachschools.org so he can get you your prize. All right, and with that being said, I want to thank everybody for joining Javier in our session today. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Javier, for presenting for us today. And we hope to see you in our closing session coming up in 15 minutes.